Good morning, everyone. It's currently the 31st of July 2026, and I just wanted to display on MapBoard the world events as of today, the 31st of July. Like I said, I'm using MapBoard, which is a map drawing and editing software. It's completely free and available at the Github. You can check that in the description below. And basically what this program does, it's a very lightweight way to visualize different objects on the world map. So as you can see, it has basic functionality, clicking and dragging, and you can select different countries and change the properties on the right-hand side in the panel. And you can also change the color of these countries, show the name, and show different units on the map, as well as different emojis and flags. Okay, so if we want to represent what happened today in the world, in the current events, particularly around geopolitics and the different theaters, that would be Iran, US, and Russia, Ukraine. What we can do is go over to the right-hand panel and click LLM, select the model, OpenAI. I'm using ChatGPT 5.6 Terra. Enable web search. So I'm using here my OpenAI key, which is an environment variable set on the computer. And I'm going to type in my prompt, which is plot the daily news presented below. And I'm going to go ahead and paste my news article down below that I fetched from online. And I'm going to hit generate. And what this is going to do is it's going to take the world map, the map board that I have here, and it's going to use the context, which is very little at the moment because it's an empty map board. It's going to take the current context of the map, apply the news article to the AI LLM prompt, and it's going to return a JSON response. And what this is going to do is it's going to visualize the different choke points and hot flash points on the map of today's current events. And so here you can see on the right-hand side, I've gotten my response. It's an array, a JSON array, many different objects, and I just click apply to map. And what we should see is a clear representation and notes of the different locations of today's events. So apply to map, and here we go. Very clear, a very clear visualization that can display all of these situations. If we start at the bottom, we can look at the US-Iran situation. We can see a Red Sea tanker risk here in the Red Sea, represented by the amber triangle. And this is a Houthi threat in the region. So I can click the object, go over to the JSON object in the right-hand side, see it's a triangle, and then I can get a little text note here from the AI and today's current events. It says, Houthi attacks on Saudi-linked tankers were reported amid expanding maritime operations. And it's got the latitude and longitude. And this was actually as of the 7th of July 30th. So this was yesterday. And we've got current updates on the Strait of Hormuz. This looks like Bandar Abbas or Qeshm Island. Iranian reporting alleged civilian casualties in Qeshm during US operations. We've got further escalation in Iraq, here on the border between Iraq and Iran. If I mouse over that particular node, it will say US-Saudi strikes in Iraq, which happened yesterday, we spoke about yesterday. Now there is a node in Iran. It says US strikes in Iran on the IRGC. This is close to the Caspian Sea up here. I can actually get a better visualization of Iran by changing the color of the country to red. And I will, for the sake of clarity, add a US naval three-dimensional battleship into the Arabian Sea down here. So I add a carrier, change the rotation, and then add a destroyer as well. This gives a clear, just reduce the size of the destroyer. And I can apply a US skin to these particular objects on the map, giving a clear representation of US forces in the region. If we'll go back to Iran and look at this particular node, we'll see here on the 7th month of the 30th, US airstrikes reportedly hit dozens of IRGC and military sites, including command and drone-related facilities. And this here has a source. It's a user-provided daily brief. So that was from me. And we can get a clear visualization of Iraq as well. And we can show different American bases in the region. We can represent that by dragging and dropping the US map at these particular bases. So we have one in Bahrain, we have one in Kuwait. We'll represent the UAE in blue, show the name of the UAE. And now we have a clear visualization of what's going on in today's conflict between the US and Iran. I would also like to show the draw tool that I have. Like I said, this program is called MapBoard. It's freely available for everyone at the GitHub, and that link is in the show notes below the video. So going back to the draw tool, I'll select a circle and a fill, 25%, a red circle to represent hostility, and I'm just going to draw over the Houthi stronghold here in Yemen. And this represents their sphere of influence. And I can add a text box to this particular region and just type in Houthi. So your basic functionality like you would expect in a program like Microsoft Paint or Google Earth. Okay. We covered yesterday, which was breaking news, the Egypt situation. It was a drone strike, a reported drone strike on a US tanker in the LNG port in Egypt. And that's represented here on the map. Remember, this was all imported in from an AI prompt, a very simple AI prompt, using the current context of the world map as it exists in JSON format through this program, and then taking that context, deriving a response with the AI, and then importing it in. So a very helpful tool and way for educators, content creators, and different analysts to be able to observe and present what's going on in today's current events. So here's the drone strike on a particular US tanker. It says drone hit and has the coordinates here. A drone reportedly struck a US-owned gas storage tanker near Egypt. And this is the Damietta port. No casualties reported. We covered this yesterday. But as you can see, a very clear representation, as well as the strike, the Iranian missile strikes in Jordan. Now, today's current events and the most important news of the day is what happened in the Russia-Ukraine theater. So I'll go ahead and represent Ukraine here on the map, increase the size of the name by adjusting the JSON property on the right-hand side, click Apply, and I'll represent Russia in red, Ukraine in green. What we can see are different locations: Russian barrage in Kyiv. Russia reportedly launched a major overnight missile and drone attack against Ukraine, including Kyiv. 8 deaths nationwide. But the breaking news of the day was actually what happened in Poland, a NATO country. We represent Poland here on the map, and then in blue, we can see a very significant warning sign here, the triangle in the southeast of the southeastern Poland, 100 kilometers in. Polish authorities reportedly said a Russian cruise missile had entered the Lublin region, creating a NATO airspace escalation and concern. Very concerning, a very significant escalation in the Russia-Ukraine war, that the Russian missile made it all the way into Poland and struck Polish NATO territory. I can draw that escalation. I'll draw a dashed line in red from Russia into Poland, and it will be represented here. on the map. There are different tools that you can use in this particular program. You can add many different icons to represent different events that have occurred, different explosions, for instance. You can drop and drag simple functionality onto the map, the explosion. So I'm dragging an explosion emoji here on the map to represent this particular event. Different flags as well, go up to icons, flags. You can choose from 100 plus different flags. But if I select the G20, I can select a Russian flag here. And I can select an American flag down here, or perhaps I'll put it in Germany to represent the American base in Germany. So here's today's news. This was the breaking news of the day, the most significant escalation, the Russian cruise missile strike into Poland. And this program is called MapBoard, which gives a clear visualization and representation of today's current events. If you have more prompts that you would like to ask the AI, you can simply just type the prompt here, select your model that you'd like to use and generate, and you can apply it to map. I will use one more example. For instance, I will say, can you please represent on the map the US military bases in Eastern Europe? And what this will do is take the current context of the map, all the different objects on the map, and show it here and return a response in JSON so that we can import it directly into the map and get a visualization of all the different American bases. While this is working away, this is talking to the AI, particularly OpenAI specifically. There are some other features for the map to give analysts and content creators different functionality. The map is separated into many different layers, so we can hide different objects on the map. We can hide the icons, for instance. We can hide units. We can hide drawings. We could hide everything. We can even hide the country. So you can use the MapBoard as a standard Paint, Microsoft Paint-like type program. Another tab that we have up here is the Markets tab. You can go ahead and click refresh to get a current update. And this talks to the API of the world markets. We've got equity markets are up today after they were down yesterday. Big movements here in the dollar yen. So perhaps some intervention there in that market. We've got commodities, and you can go ahead and select from a wide range of different products here and securities. One other feature that I really like is the RSS feed. The RSS feed is a manageable news aggregator. You can choose which subscriptions you would like to represent in the app. If I go ahead and click refresh, what we have are the different headlines of the day: New York Times, Financial Times, and Wall Street Journal down here is what I have selected. And you can see the different headlines. Trump threatens to withdraw Blanche as Attorney General, dealing blow to nomination. We've got AI news, Meta and Mark Zuckerberg. Saudi Arabia announces maritime defense coalition as Houthi attacks threaten Red Sea route. So the way this functionality works is not only giving you the presentation of the articles, but you can click to select a particular item and you can add it to the journal. The button down here, add to journal. And if I go up here to my journal tab and I go to news, I can see it's been added to my briefs, all represented up here in the notes, objectives, notifications, and of course, we have color representation for these different items, so you can distinguish between your different topics. Fantastic. Now, let's go back to the LLM. I was importing the US military bases in Eastern Europe. It's returned the results. It's an array, a collection of objects, and I'll go and apply to map. And what that should do is present all the different American bases on the map. Okay, fantastic. They're a bit big, so that should have been adjusted, which can be in the prompt when you send it. So there is customization for formatting and different visualizations. You can change the default icons that get represented on the map, and you can also make color suggestions as well. And what this will do is change the representation on the map to suit your particular needs and what you like. But these do return different objects for all of the different bases that the United States has in Eastern Europe. Well, that was today's news. It was focused on the Russia-Ukraine war, and that was related to the breaking news headline, which was a Russian cruise missile strike into Poland, southeast Poland, which is a NATO country. So thank you for listening to the video today. This program that I'm using is called MapBoard. You can find it for free in the GitHub, and that link will be in the description below. Thank you very much.